I'm going to cut across to Gaurav Sawant, India's #1 war reporter, who's currently en route Tawang, exactly the flashpoint between India and China. Gaurav, a quick word from you. We see you're en route, you're on your way. What's the situation currently as we speak? We heard Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in the Parliament saying all is well.
So, tension, of course, remains high between India and China at the line of actual control, and not just in Ladakh, but all across Arunachal Pradesh and in Sikkim, where the Chinese have repeatedly tried to transgress, as the Raksha Mantri also said, in the Arunachal Pradesh at the Yangtse point. But China could not succeed. And India today has some details about how India was well aware of the Chinese build-up, the fact that the Chinese were trying, the fact that they were building up to try and not just transgress but take over or dislodge the Indians from one of the positions where India is well entrenched. The Chinese tried, but they failed and went back. But does that mean that they will not try again? Clearly, India hopes that the mechanisms that are in place will be followed. But as far as the Chinese are concerned, we've seen this. They've tried salami slicing of Indian territory for decades. They tried that in Galwan, they tried that in Pangong So, they've tried that in other sectors, and they have tried that at Doklam in eastern sector also. But in Arunachal Pradesh, given India's history since 1962 and the fact that India is so well entrenched, now with infrastructure coming up, and as we continue our conversation, we will show you some of the infrastructure built up on the Indian side. The Chinese did not succeed and are unlikely to succeed ever.
Gaurav, as developments coming in on this clash between India and China along that Tawang region of Arunachal, the Indian troops have indicated that there are regions along that area, the Tawang sector where the clashes took place, that have different perceptions in terms of what PLA calls their claim lines, or the Indian side claiming their border areas. So both sides are constantly patrolling up to their claim lines. So that usually could occur in skirmishes. But this time around, we hear that the PLA have brought larger troops to those areas of line of actual control. And that's what's worried the Indian side.
Once again, spot on there, Nabila, because there is a perception difference, and China refuses to mark these points on the map, because if there is a marking, if both sides are aware of what the claim lines are, China continues to try and push the envelope. They don't say what their claim line is, and from what the sources tell us, whether it's Ladakh or Arunachal Pradesh, China keeps changing its claim line. There are times that China claims entire Arunachal Pradesh, claiming it is the southern part of Tibet. But that is something that India rightly contests, and that is unacceptable to India. So we've had a situation in 1962, we've had a situation in Nathula in Sikkim in 1967, you've again had a situation in 1986 in Sundarong-Chu. So India's learned we've learned our lessons very well as a nation, as an army, of course, from what top commanders tell India today. And that is why when Chinese try something, they think that they'll be able to push the Indian soldiers back a little, continue with the salami slicing of Indian territory. And in this case, as was the case in Doklam, the Chinese did not succeed. So what they end up doing is building up a little more on their side, and the potential for confrontation continues to remain there. Even in Doklam, when China did not succeed, because India had a red line, the moment there was an apprehension the Chinese would cross India's red line, India went and stopped Chinese construction activity beyond a certain point. And that shows India is very clear about what our red lines are. And in every situation, whether it's Ladakh or Doklam or here, India's red lines, that the moment Chinese try and cross it, there is a response.